Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or wherever you joined this webinar. Welcome at the 2021 edition of Con 6, the FIPS annual convention. Welcome at this webinar about scoring. My name is Dennis Dan. This webinar consists out of two presentations, which the first presentation is today. I'm going to tell you a bit more about the scoring differences between baseball and softball. But first of all, I would like to thank the Italian Scoring Commission for their invitation and the opportunity to have me as a guest speaker on their convention and tell you more about scoring. But before we continue, I would like to introduce myself. As mentioned, my name is Dennis Duin and I'm living in the Netherlands. My career as an official started a long time ago. I started at a very young age as an umpire. From 1987 until 2002, I was a baseball umpire. I had the opportunity to officiate in the highest level from 1998 until 2002 in the Dutch majors. Unfortunately, I had to stop umpiring due to a knee injury. But I still want to be involved in baseball and softball. In 2006, I achieved to get my license to score in the highest leagues in the Netherlands and eventually scored international. In my career, I participated in many international tournaments in different roles and hopefully this year scoring at the Olympics in Tokyo. So fingers crossed. The webinar of differences between baseball and softball scoring will consist out of two presentations, which the first presentation is today. I would like to cover the following topics: lineup, the game, what is a regulation game, what about the run difference rule and the extra inning rule, better known as tiebreak, pitcher credits, scoring symbols, especially BALK, illegal pitch, interference and obstruction, runner left early, removing helmet, and the pickoff. The last topic for this session is appeal plays. There will be an opportunity to ask questions after this session via a separate Zoom link and the session on Saturday. So let's start with the first topic, lineup. So let's start with the lineup symbols. Numbers are used in several ways in the official score sheet. They are mainly used to identify players on the defending team. In addition to the defensive player, special symbols are used to identify batters or runners like pinch hitter, PH, and pinch runner, PR. These symbols are used in both softball and baseball, but there are also separate symbols in use. Baseball, the symbol DH is used for designated hitter. Softball, unlike baseball, there is no designated hitter in softball. Instead, softball has symbols for designated player, offensive player only, OP, placement player, RP, and temporary runner, TR. The second webinar, I will explain more about the differences between the designated hitter, DH, and the designated player, DP. Lineup and flex. Where in baseball, the designated hitter always bats for the pitcher, the name of the DH is written in a lineup and the name of the pitcher is down the pitcher section. Designated player in softball, however, may be used for any fielding position, not only the pitcher. When a team uses a designated player, he is listed in the lineup. If the DP bats for the pitcher, the name of the pitcher must be written only in the proper rows below the lineup. In case the DP bats for any other fielder, the name of the starting flex shall be written in the first supplementary row after the ninth at bat, indicating the defensive position in the left column and with an X batting order number. For the lineup cards, according to the official baseball rules, there is a difference between baseball and softball with regard to the names of the substitute players. In baseball, the official rule says, as a courtesy, each lineup card presented to the umpire-in-chief should list the fielding positions to be played by each player in the batting order. If a designated hitter is to be used, the lineup card shall designate which hitter is to be the designated hitter. As a courtesy, potential substitute player should also be listed, but the failure to list a potential substitute player shall not make such potential substitute player ineligible to enter the game. In softball, the official rule says the lineup card contains last name, first name, position, and uniform numbers of the starting players. The last name, first name, and uniform numbers of any available substitutes, and the last name and first name of the head coach. The starting player's name cannot be on the lineup unless the player is present in uniform and in the team area. An eligible roster player may be added to the substitute list anytime during the game. All players on the lineup need to be present in uniform and in the team area. Let's move from the lineup to the game to explain you about some differences in a regulation game and the run difference rule, run ahead rule between baseball and softball. In a baseball game, a regulation game consists of 9 innings, whereas a softball regulation game shall consist of 7 innings. Both, unless extended because of a tie score or shortened because the home team needs none of its halves of the last inning or only a fraction of it, or because the umpire-in-chief calls the game. It is obvious that when official statistics are maintained of any competition, baseball or softball, in case the number of innings is required for that specific statistics, like earned run average. The correct number of innings is adapted from the regulation game duration. Run difference, run ahead rule. In softball, in the official rules, it is described how the run difference, run ahead rule works. A run ahead rule shall be used at all tournaments and championships. For fast pitch, 15 runs after 3 innings, 10 runs after 4 innings, or 7 runs after 5 innings. Slow pitch, 20 runs after 4 innings, or 15 runs after 5 innings. Complete innings must be played unless the team's second at bat scores the required number of runs while at bat. When the team first at bat reaches the required number of runs in the top half of the inning, the team second at bat must have their opportunity to bat at the bottom of the half inning. So, what about the extra inning rule? Regulation games may be extended because of a tie score. Again, there is a difference in the baseball and softball application of the extra inning, or tiebreak rule. For baseball, if the game remains tied after the completion of the last inning of a regulation game, each team will begin the extra inning and any subsequent necessary extra innings with the player on first and second, no outs. To begin the 10th inning, the lineup continues as in any other inning. The player scheduled to bat 9th in that respective half inning placed on first base as a runner. The player scheduled to bat 8th in that respective half inning placed on second base as a runner. For softball, starting with the top of the 8th inning and for each half inning thereafter, until the game ends, the offensive team starts its turn at bat with the player scheduled to bat 9th in that respective half inning placed on second base as a runner. In both cases, the scoring symbol is a tie. Any runner that starts on second base or on first base in the tiebreaker will not be credited with a plate appearance or times at bat. A run scored by the player starting as a tiebreak runner shall be charged to the defensive team and not to the pitcher, and can therefore never be an earned run. Whether a run scored by any other player shall be charged to the pitcher is up to the judgment of the official scorer. In case of a pitcher change at the beginning of the extra inning, it is very important to mark this change above the tiebreak runners starting as runners on base. Extra inning is supposed to lead to a game-winning run which determines the statistics to be awarded to the pitcher. A run scored by one of the players that started as a runner in the extra inning should be charged to a relief pitcher. So let's talk about the differences for a pitcher, then specifically in a win, loss, and save. Apologies for a lot of text in the coming two slides. When there is a difference in the number of innings for a regulation game, there also has to be a difference in the ruling to credit the pitcher with a win. In baseball, the rule says pitcher whose team assumes a lead while such pitcher is in the game, or during the inning on offense in which such pitcher is removed from the game and does not relinquish such lead, is the starting pitcher who has not completed 5 innings of a game that lasts 6 or more innings on defense, or 4 innings of a game that lasts 5 innings on defense. Then the official score shall credit as the winning pitcher the relief pitcher, if there is only one relief pitcher, or the relief pitcher who in the official score's judgment was the most effective, if there is more than one relief pitcher. For softball, the pitcher will be credited with a win in the following situations. When the starting pitcher has pitched at least 4 innings, and their team was not only in the lead when they are replaced, but remains in the lead for the remainder of the game. When a game is ended after 5 innings of play, the starting pitcher has pitched at least 3 innings and their team scores more runs than the other team when the game is terminated. One big difference to determine the winning pitcher in baseball and softball is in how many innings the starting pitcher needs to pitch to get a win. As we know in softball, the starting pitcher can return once after substituted. That also applies for a pitcher. Therefore, within softball, the starting pitcher is the pitcher who actually delivers the first pitch. Essentially, a starting pitcher can be substituted and returns back to the game, so-called re-entry. That applies for determining the winning pitcher. Count the cumulative innings for a starting pitcher. We have also to give a loss, or if according to the rules, potentially a save to the pitcher. The loss is the same within baseball and softball. Pitcher is credited with a loss who is responsible for the run that gives the winning team a lead that the winning team does not relinquish. For save, another story. The official scorer shall credit a pitcher with a save when such pitcher meets all of the 4 conditions. He is the finishing pitcher in a game won by his team. He is not the winning pitcher. He is credited with at least 1/3 of an inning pitched, and he satisfies one of the following conditions. He enters the game with a lead of no more than 3 runs and pitches for at least 1 inning. He enters the game, regardless of the count, with the potential tying run either on base or at bat or on deck. That is, the potential tying run is either already on base or is one of the first 2 batters he faces. Or he pitched at least 3 innings. In the official rules, it is not defined to whom a save shall be credited. Therefore, we apply the baseball rule. However, within the WBSC scoring commission, the save rule for softball is being discussed. In our opinion, it doesn't make sense to have the same rule as baseball, as a regulation game in softball is 2 innings less. So let's move to the next topic, scoring symbols. We would like to start to explain the difference between a balk and an illegal pitch. In baseball, a balk is an illegal act by the pitcher with a runner or runners on base, entitling all runners to advance 1 base. The scoring symbol is BK. Softball, an illegal pitch, is an illegal act by the pitcher against the pitching regulations. The scoring symbol is IP. Both symbols are used in the same way, and the position to count the number of balks or illegal pitches in the pitcher section of the score sheet is the same. Moving to interference and obstruction. In baseball and softball, the catcher can interfere with the batter. However, definition, and therefore the scoring symbol in both games, are different. In baseball, Offensive interference is an act by a fielder that hinders or prevents a batter from hitting a pitch. The scoring manual stated that the fielder who committed the interference, usually the catcher, is charged with an error noted with INT. In softball, interference is the act of an offensive player. Obstruction is the act of a defensive player or team member who hinders or prevents a batter from striking at or hitting a pitch ball. The fielder who committed the obstruction is also charged with an error noted by the scoring symbol OB. The following two symbols are only applicable in softball. Runner left early and removing helmet. In softball, a runner is out, the ball is dead when they fail to keep contact with the base to which they are entitled until a legally pitched ball leaves the pitcher's hand. A no pitch is declared and other runners must return to the last base legally held at the time of the pitch. These rules do not apply to baseball, where it is common that when the pitcher on the mound has the ball and is preparing for the next pitch to the batter, the base runner legitimately takes some steps off the base. In case the runner in softball is called out, this is an automatic putout. Ready to put out, fielder nearest to the point of violation. The scoring symbol is RLE. Another rule, which is only applicable in softball, is that a runner called out for removal of the helmet. When the ball is live, batter runner or runner will be declared out when they deliberately wear a helmet improperly or deliberately remove the helmet during a live ball play, other than a home run off the fence. The scoring symbol is RHE. The last in the series of differing scoring symbols in baseball and softball is the difference in rule of the pickoff. In baseball, the runner is allowed to step off his base when the pitcher on the mound is in possession of the ball. A runner can be tagged in a so-called pickoff. To catch a base runner off base and put out with a quick throw as from the pitcher or the catcher. In softball, as stated before, the runner has to keep contact with the base to which he is entitled till a legally pitched ball leaves the pitcher's hand. This makes it impossible for the pitcher to pick off a runner from base. But as soon as the ball has left the pitcher's hand, the runner is allowed to attempt to advance to the next base. In that situation, it might occur that a catcher tries to pick off the runner off base. This will end the section in differences in scoring symbols. Let's continue to the last topic of this webinar, appeal plays. In baseball and softball, there is an opportunity to appeal against violation of the rules. Let's start by giving the definition according to the official baseball rules definition of terms. An appeal is the act of a fielder in claiming violation of the rules by the offensive team. In softball, the definition is, on an appeal play, the runner will not be out unless the appeal play is made legally. An appeal play may be made while the ball is live or dead, but the defensive team loses the opportunity of making an appeal if it's not made. In the above mentioned rules, appeal situations have been listed. The difference we wish to emphasize here is the fact that in softball, not only a player, but also a manager or a coach may make a dead ball appeal after stepping onto the playing field. In this case, and every time when a fielder in the infield is making the appeal, there is an appeal situation without an assist for any player. Score for an appeal and credit to put out to the fielder covering the base of the appeal. In case of illegal substitutions, getting out of order, illegal re-entry and such, credit put out to the catcher. This is the last slide of the webinar of this session. There will be an opportunity after the webinar to ask questions in a separate Zoom meeting. But before we close this webinar, I would like to share a quote with you. Before we close this webinar, I would like to share a quote with you. This quote is from Grandad Rice. Kitty Grandland Granny Rice, he lived from 1880 until 1954, was an early 20th century American sport writer known for his elegant prose. His writing was published in newspapers around the country and broadcast on the radio. When one great scorer comes to write against your name, he marks not that you won or lost, but how you played the game. Thank you very much for attending the first part of the webinar about scoring differences, baseball versus softball. In the next webinar, I will talk more about betting out of turn, designated hitter, designated player, re-entry in softball, replacement player in softball, and the temporary runner in softball. Have a good day, and I hope to see you in the QA sessions or in the next webinar. Stay safe and healthy. Goodbye.